scored on the counter-attack. But first of all, the Bees hit the bar after a strike from Mbeumo after just a couple of minutes. Then there was another effort that was blocked. Well, it's a very warm welcome back to a second half independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the game at the London Stadium. West Ham United trail Brentford by a 1-0. Goals scored by Brian Mbeumo after Brentford went on a counter-attack in the 20th minute. A strike from Canos at the edge of the area, saved by Fabianski, but Mbeumo getting to the rebound and the ball did cross the line. But West Ham starting straight away in the second half with the ball at the edge of the area. Fornals blocked at the edge of the box. Antonio gets the loose ball, trying to turn and get a shot towards goal. There's support from Rice as well, and Onyeka brings the ball away for Brentford. And that's a bright start for West Ham. Perhaps a prognosis of what we can expect in the second half. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Dan McCarthy taking you through the action. Dan, West Ham need to make a statement at the start of the second half.
Yeah, they certainly do. It was a half of two halves in the opening 45. Brentford were the much better of the two sides to start with. But West Ham, you know, with the quality they've got on the field, I don't think they were ever going to be off it for 90 minutes, and they did start to come back into it the later it went on, particularly in those wider areas. That's where they looked to try and harm Brentford, get round the outside. We saw Sofal and Cresswell try and get crosses into the box. So more of the same, and they should, try and get themselves back into this game in the second half. And we've seen very early on, it was such a lightning start to this second half. I think David Moyes may have had a few choice words at the break.
Absolutely, just to try and wake his players up, to tell them just how well they've been playing this season and how far away from that they were in that first half. Bright start here from West Ham, trying to put the pressure on as Declan Rice now over towards the left-hand side for Aaron Cresswell. He finds the run of Fornals being stood up here by Zanka Jorgensen. Jorgensen then does well to turn and fire that ball off the feet of Fornals and out for a Brentford goal kick. Just to remind you of the two teams, no changes for West Ham. Łukasz Fabianski is in goal with the back four of Ademir Kufala, Kurt Zuma, Angelo Ogbonna and Aaron Cresswell. Thomas Souček and Declan Rice are the two holder midfielders, with Jarrod Bowen, Pablo Fornals and Said Benrahma as the attacking three, playing behind Michail Antonio. As for Brentford, David Raya is in goal. It's a back three of Zanka Jorgensen, Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock. The two wide men are Sergi Canos and Rico Henry. The three in midfield are Frank Onyeka, Christian Norgard and Matthias Jensen, who came on in the first half for the injured Shandon Baptiste, with goal scorer Brian Mbeumo and Ivan Toney as the two up front. And the rain is really coming down now at the London Stadium. It was actually we made quite a long point about that in the first half, that Fabianski and the West Ham fans behind him were having to shield their eyes from the sun. There'll be no danger of that in the second half.
No, none whatsoever. But the conditions could provide their own challenge. We know Brentford like to play, attacking football, free-flowing football. So sometimes the extra rain can help teams that play like that.
Absolutely. It's a good run there from Antonio down the left. He hooked the ball into the penalty area. It's played out, and now Brentford under a bit of pressure here to try and clear this ball. It's a good clearance, though, from Rico Henry down the left-hand side. Tony's chasing this one, but Angelo Ogbonna gets there first, and he plays a long ball down the right-hand side, headed forward by Henry. Not enough power on that header, though. It gets through to Benrahma, and Benrahma finds Antonio at the edge of the area. He's brought down by Zanka Jorgensen, and that's going to be a free kick to West Ham in a decent position.
Yeah, you'd imagine that West Ham would maybe try and, of the three Brentford central defenders, they'd try and go for Jorgensen a bit more. He didn't have a pre-season. He signed for Brentford quite late on. He lacked a little bit of sharpness in getting towards Antonio there, and then brought him down. So maybe that's something that West Ham could look to try and exploit. But this is a free kick in a fairly promising position. We saw that one just before half-time with Mbeumo. That was taken inside the D. This one's a much more suitable distance. It's about 5 yards or so behind the D, and there are three potential takers of this free kick.
They are the right-footed options there in Declan Rice and Said Benrahma, the left-footed option of Aaron Cresswell. But Benrahma, with his Brentford connections, would certainly love to have a go here. I made the point in the first half, just as West Ham were actually on the attack, that Benrahma scored a fabulous goal against Brentford in a pre-season friendly just a week or two before the start of this season. And it looks like it is the Algerian shaping up to take this free kick. He goes over the wall and just over the bar. It's a rasping effort from Benrahma. Put real pace into that strike, and it looks like it's fingertip saves from David Raya.
Yeah, it's a really well struck free kick, and I think David Raya Just have another look at the replay from behind. It's hard to tell whether he did get a touch. It may have been very, very slight, and the referee's got better eyesight, I think, than I have, but it's a corner kick nonetheless.
It is a corner. I must admit that even looking at that replay, it was hard to see where that ball deviated after contact with the goalkeeper, but it is a corner. Outswinger from Aaron Cresswell. Good header there from Pontus Jansson. Then a follow-up effort, but in the meantime, referee has stopped play. It looks as though the outswinger from Cresswell on the left-hand side had gone out of play before it even reached the box.
Yep, I think it had have done. So it's a bit of a disappointment that for West Ham that they couldn't capitalise on that opportunity, but they've had a really good start to this second half. They look very much full of energy. I think that's what they were lacking early on in the game. They just looked a little bit ponderous compared to Brentford, who were the more energetic of the two sides. All they need to try and do is put Brentford under as much pressure as possible. In situations like this, where they're playing with the ball from the back, they could be prone to an error. The extra zip on the surface might catch out some of their players. That's where West Ham need to try and capitalise. Yeah,
well, they insisted on playing out from the back there, Brentford, despite there being 2 or 3 West Ham players in close proximity. Antonio nearly got on the end of one of those passes before the ball eventually was played out and away from the Bees penalty area. And we're now focusing on goalkeeper David Raya. Looks like he might have a more busy second half as Zanka Jorgensen takes his throw for Brentford. Ball ends up in midfield here with Ivan Toney. He's taken down. The referee wanted to play an advantage, but there's a challenge almost immediately. So this will be a free kick to Brentford. Still closer to the centre circle really than it is to the penalty area. But a good chance here to at least keep possession and frustrate West Ham. They've been very keen to get a good start in this second half. As Dan mentioned, they didn't get a good start in the first, and they're very keen to sort of improve on that and get back into this game. Just one defeat for West Ham all season against Manchester United, and they probably should have drawn that game as well. So they really don't want this to be their second defeat of the season just before an international break. As Matthias Jensen now plays the ball towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. It's hooked in by Pinnock. Gets a deflection off Koufal, and it's going to be a Brentford corner.
Yeah, this is good for Brentford, trying to get an opportunity to get a second goal. And it would be really crucial. It'd be a big blow for West Ham if Brentford could get a second goal, a psychological blow, because 1-0 down, West Ham, with the way they've played in the opening of the second half and as they did in the closing period of the first half, they'll feel they've got more than enough chance to get back into this game. But 2-0 down, you'd almost think it would be virtually over.
Be a long way back for West Ham. Brentford now with this corner kick. It's a really high ball. Overhit, you would have thought, from Matthias Jensen. Pontus Jansson just about gets his head to that, but that was far too high. It was looping up in the air. Fabianski takes a quick goal kick. Bowen trying to use the pace of that goal kick, but that's good covering from Onyeka. Gets his body in the way and then draws the foul. That might be one of those that's in the climate of this season. Perhaps Bowen was expecting to get away with that one.
Yeah, I think he was, and I think it's very good defending from Onyeka, who's I think had a very good game in midfield, Frank Onyeka, particularly considering that he wasn't due to play. It was due to be Janelt. He's had to come in. He's had to adjust to the tactics very quickly, and he got across there really well. A little bit soft, perhaps, as Bowen thought he was going to get away with that one, but you can understand why the referee blew his whistle.
Yeah, you mentioned Vitaly Janelt. It's been a tough week for him. He had a good performance against Liverpool last week in front of the German manager Hansi Flick. Wasn't called up for the German squad when some rumours were suggesting that he might be. He's still in the under-21 setup, of course. I still think he's got a future long-term. But that, combined with the late injury today, and a tough few days here for Vitaly Janelt, but he'll be delighted. He is sat on that Brentford bench this afternoon. He'll be very pleased with the way his side started in that first half. Perhaps a bit more concerned about how things are going in the second. Coming up to 54 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. West Ham United 0, Brentford 1. In the other two games, no changes from the half-time scores, so it's still Crystal Palace 0, Leicester City 2, and Tottenham Hotspur 1, Aston Villa 0. Here is Aaron Cresswell down the left here for West Ham, tripped by Christian Norgard. Free kick to West Ham, but Norgard won't mind that. A free kick to West Ham in West Ham's half is good news really for Brentford, because it just slows the possession down even more. And now the Beast trying to put some pressure here on Zuma and Ogbonna. The two experienced defenders are able to get the ball away to Cresswell. He plays a long one over the top now, looking for Said Benrahma. Jorgensen with the initial header. The second header there from Pablo Fornals, who hits the deck, and his fellow compatriot there, Sergi Canos, looking at Fornals and saying, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, I don't know if he maybe fell kind of literally flat on his face there. We'll have a look at the replay as Well, Canis's arm, it flails a little bit.
It's a glancing forearm, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, there is contact there. You couldn't say that Canos is intended to do that. But having said that, he does get caught flush on the nose there, Pablo Fornals. So it looked initially as though he might have been exaggerating, but perhaps he was well within his rights to feel the pain. As here come West Ham now trying to pile pain on Brentford as the ball ends up with Antonio inside the penalty area. Just a slight wide angle, tries to go over towards the right-hand side for Souček. His header is blocked off, and then a volley there from Kufal from just outside the area. But he's on his weaker left foot. He hooks it up in the air, and it was never really threatening the goal. It's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I thought initially from where that was struck, I thought it was going to be Jarrod Bowen, and the way that would have fallen onto his left foot, it could have been really promising as that move started there from a very physical challenge from Ogbonna. I think it was in the back of Tony up front for Brentford, who was sent straight to the floor. So, again, more physicality in this game, but West Ham not taking any of the chances that are being presented to them. They're creating half chances at best at the minute.
They're only creating half chances, but the fact is we've only had 10.5 minutes of this second half, so they'll be hoping that with every 10, 15 minute spell that's going to improve, and they're going to be pushing back on this Brentford side, still trying to find its feet in the Premier League. West Ham down the right-hand side, Kufal finding Antonio. He tries to backheel it, but Pinnock gets himself in the way. Out for a West Ham throw down that right-hand side. Antonio now getting into the penalty area alongside Jarrod Bowen. Waiting to see how West Ham want to take this throw. Just a short throw there from Kufal back to Kurt Zuma, who's joined the attack. Kufal again back to Zuma. Tries to lift the ball into the area. It's far too high for Souček, and that's easily cleared. Long clearance there from Norgard back towards Tony on the halfway line. Taken down by Ogbonna. Cresswell is covering, making sure that ball goes back towards Fabianski. And now a long clearance from him down the middle. That's a good header on from Souček as well. He's so good in the air, but the second ball doesn't quite get through to Benrahma. But now Antonio makes sure it does get through, and Bowen breaking into the box as goalkeeper Raya comes out to narrow the angle, and he does well. He forces the ball out for a corner. Yeah,
the angle was too acute for Bowen to work with there. As just a nice selection of through balls played through, and it's one of those. I think last season Bowen was sticking his arm out, pointing where to put the through ball. I saw goals last season where the arm literally ruled out a goal because of an offside. So again, it's that nice lighter touch that we're seeing. If Bowen had stuck that in the back of the net, I don't think it would have been halted by VAR.
No, I would have been surprised as the corner kick is played in, and it's headed wide by Souček. He's putting his arms up, asking for something. I'm not sure what he's asking for, whether he feels as though there should be another corner to West Ham, or whether he was being impeded as he tried to go for this. Let's just have a look. Potentially it could have been one of those where him and Zanka Jorgensen have got their heads to it together, but it has decision has gone in favour of Brentford. It will be a goal kick, and David Raya now waiting to take this one. You can see the West Ham faithful. It's pretty much a sellout at the London Stadium. Of course, fans across the country trying to get their fix after 18 months of not being able to see their team. Here come West Ham again, though, with space for Benrahma. Break it into the box. Brentford are giving him too much space. The shot is charged down, and it's cleared away. But gaps are starting to appear now in the Brentford half. More and more gaps are starting to appear. Ball cleared to the halfway line. West Ham get the ball straight back as Palace pull a goal back at Selhurst Park. They now trail 2-1 at home to Leicester City. Will confirm the goal scorer in just a moment. But problems now for Brentford. They can't keep hold of the ball at all.
No, they can't. And it was really good play, I've got to say, from Norgard, because it was Benrahma who was making the move across, and Norgard used his body strength really well. He couldn't brush Benrahma off the ball, but what he did manage to do was force him out wide. He couldn't get another shot away because we saw in the first half Benrahma had a couple of shots from distance. As a cross comes in, it's easily dealt with. Is it? No, it's spilt by Raya. And then Bowen, I thought there was a foul in that anyway, to be honest.
Well, it looks like I think it has been given as a foul in the end. I mean, Antonio and Raya now both with a smile on their face, but Antonio says he can't believe it. Referee Peter Banks is trying to calm things down now. So let's have a look from this replay as the ball is hooked in. Well, I mean, I wouldn't like to think that was a foul. No, Mikhail Antonio does nothing wrong here, apart from the fact he does have a little look up at Raya, but I'm not sure. I think if a goal had been scored from that, I think West Ham would have been very frustrated if that had not been given.
Yeah, potentially so. It's in that kind of grey area of decision-making, really. I mean, a lot of people lament the fact that goalkeepers, in their opinion, get too much protection. So those sorts of people would be Really unhappy with that decision, feeling that Raya just needed to be a little bit stronger. But I think Antonio just put his body in the way. As Raya was coming down, he'd got hold of the ball, and I think Antonio forced him to drop it.
Absolutely, and that's one of those where I think probably Brentford would have been pleased to have heard the referee's whistle, but West Ham comes straight back again down the right-hand side. Kufau leaving it now for Antonio. He plays it down the channel. Kufau carries on his run. Pinnock tries to get his body in the way, but he can't shepherd it out. It's a cross, and it's a header from just 5 yards, which is wide from Jarrod Bowen, but this West Ham goal just seems to be a matter of time right now. Brentford look all over the place in defence.
Yeah, they certainly do. The sun's actually come back out now, which could be an extra problem to add to David Raya. Really good, strong play from Sofal. Even though it's not too far out, it's not the easiest of headers for Jarrod Bowen to deal with, because the way the cross has been bent in towards him, he's got to redirect it completely back towards goal. He just glanced it instead. It's not too far wide. But as you mentioned, West Ham beginning to have a few opportunities.
Yeah, they're starting to stack up now for West Ham. And it was Mikhail Elise, 19-year-old French midfielder, that pulled the goal back for Palace at Selhurst Park. They still trail Leicester City by 2-1. It's still Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it's still West Ham United 0, Brentford 1 in this game. Independent off-tube studio commentary, 61 minutes gone. Ivan Toney down the left-hand side for Brentford, under pressure, but gets the ball to Mbeumo. But you could just see there's no space for Brentford in midfield anymore. In the first half, they had a little bit more space. They could try and work a passing move, but now Toney got that ball to Mbeumo. There were 3 West Ham players on him straight away. And once again now the Bees trying to chase the ball down as West Ham in possession, with Zuma going down the right-hand side. Kufal inside now towards Souček. And he goes back towards Ogbonna. Cresswell now down the left-hand side, finding Said Benrahma, who looked up, thought about playing it long, but then just decides to go back towards Ogbonna. Now it's with Fornals. Back to Rice. As we can see there, Thomas Frank and his assistant in deep discussion. Perhaps trying to work out how to stop this almost insistent West Ham possession that we're getting in this game now. As Janssen hits the deck, there was no foul. Antonio gets away with the ball, plays it into the penalty area. Strike coming in, charge down, a second effort, and it's just wide, deflected out for a corner. How have West Ham not scored there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great chance for West Ham. They're piling bodies forward now. Great strong play from Antonio up against Pontus Jansson. He didn't have many options to aim for, so he kind of just dug one out for Fornals. It's a brilliant block from Henry, and then Sofal's first touch just took it too far away from him, made the angle very narrow, and the save was able to be made. But West Ham, matter of time, surely.
It looks like it, doesn't it? As former Brentford man Ollie Watkins has equalised for Aston Villa. It's Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 1. But this corner kick is spun in, punched away by Raya, and then headed out by Matthias Jensen. It's a throw to West Ham down the left-hand side, still level with the edge of the Brentford penalty area. Pablo Fornals waiting to take this one. In fact, he's going to leave it for Aaron Cresswell. That would make more sense. Cresswell's throw right to the line here for Benrahma, using the fact that you can't be offside from a throw. He then lays it back to Cresswell. Cresswell hooks that into the box. It's headed away to the edge of the area. It drops to Kufal, who smashes it towards goal. It then drops towards Ogbonna, who also smashes it towards goal. Both of those efforts charged down. West Ham trying again down the right-hand side. But with only 63 minutes to go, unless Brentford do something to try and stop this West Ham possession, it is only going to be a matter of time, surely.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, West Ham have had a great second half. They're having chance after chance. Brentford, I think it's noticeable they're dropping a little bit further back. A cross comes in. That's headed over comfortably by Mikel Antonio, and it looks as though Brentford are finally going to get a bit of respite now.
Yeah, just a little bit of time just to compose themselves here, potentially consider a substitution as well, perhaps just to try and sharpen up that midfield, because it has been tough for the Bees here in this second half. They really have struggled to get any kind of chance going forward, and have been forced to do quite a lot of defending here as well. But now a goal kick to the Bees, and a chance for them to try and clear their lines. A long ball there from Raya, headed forward by Ogbonna. The ball goes straight back to Ogbonna. This time he plays it with the left foot, and it goes straight out for a throw. Although it's quite close to the Brentford penalty area. So West Ham will certainly want to press, get as many players forward as they can. to try and win this ball back as quickly as they can. West Ham just don't want to equalise here. They want to equalise and try and take the lead. They would have felt that they've already done enough in this second half to at least be level. But Ivan Toney now under pressure from Declan Rice. The ball put out for another Brentford throw. It's with Zanka Jorgensen again down the right-hand side. Goes back towards Matthias Jensen. Under pressure there, Jensen just loops the ball up in the air. And that is out for a West Ham throw. As we can see, West Ham have had 7 efforts on goal in the second half. Brentford haven't had a single one.
No surprise to see that stat, really. It has been all West Ham in the second half, and you do wonder if Thomas Frank might be pondering a change, or maybe even David Moyes himself looking to try and build upon the momentum they've been able to develop in this second half. But it is Brentford on the ball now, trying to come forward.
And they've got space as well. First time in the second half, really, as Rico Henry gets to the edge of the area. He puts a cross in, which gets a big deflection. It's not going to be a corner, though, because the referee feels as though Ivan Toney tripped the man at the edge of the area as the ball was being put in, so it won't be a corner.
No, I think it was an off-the-ball incident as Rico Henry put the ball in.
That's a poor decision, because Ogbonna was the first one there. Ogbonna stopped Toney's run, and then Toney just bit back and Ogbonna fell over, and the referee brought that as it was Toney committing the foul. So I think perhaps the Brentford forward a little bit unlucky there, but Spurs, they weren't level with Villa for very long. It's 2-1 to Tottenham now, with Lucas Moura putting Spurs 2-1 up on 72 minutes. They really are 5-6 minutes ahead of us in terms of all that injury time we had at the end of the first half. But West Ham now playing out down the left-hand side here with Aaron Cresswell. Goes back in towards Declan Rice. Rice's ball forward. Bowen trying to get it first time back to Thomas Souček, but now Ivan Toney gets the ball in midfield and plays it early. Brian Mbeumo should get there before Angelo Ogbonna, trying to take him on for pace. Then puts a right-footed cross in, looking for Toney. It's headed up in the air by Cresswell. Ball drops to Toney. It didn't sit up nicely for Norgard to have the strike, but he goes out towards Canos down the right-hand side. He tries to turn away from Fornals. But Fornals won't let him get towards the penalty area now. Canos going back towards Zanka Jorgensen. Could have been a free kick there for Brentford for the foul on Jensen. That's not given, and then Canos misplaces the pass, and it's out for a West Ham throw.
Yeah, I think those chances that West Ham have had, I'll just break off, because David Moyes was just having a few words there with one of the Brentford players. They're threatening to spill over a bit.
They are a little bit. I think the referee is just telling David Moyes to calm down. I frankly, it's one of those situations where, I mean, David Moyes is now telling Jorgensen to go away. David Moyes should go away. Jorgensen's allowed to speak to the referee when he stood on the pitch. So I don't know why David Moyes feels as though he can shepherd a Brentford player away. But he was obviously unhappy. I think he felt that Jorgensen was holding onto the ball for a second or two longer than he should have been when it was a West Ham throw. But the West Ham players, as feisty as their manager in the second half, they really have bitten back after that disappointing first 45. But so far, no change in the score as the ball now played over towards the right-hand side. Souček now crossing the halfway line. It's the ball to Kufal. He plays it back to Declan Rice. Brentford doing what they can to at least hold West Ham up as high up the field as they can, but the Hammers slowly creeping forward towards the penalty area. Benrahma now trying to play a quick 1-2 with Fornals. Fornals now trying to play the ball across. Onyeka charges into him and brings him down. That is going to be a free kick and an opportunity now for West Ham. I think the referee is going to be getting a yellow card here out as well. But in any case, we've gone past the three-quarter marker in this game. It is West Ham 0, Brentford 1, and it will be Dan McCarthy to take us through to full-time.
Cheers, Paul. Yep, just confirmation that Christian Norgard has gone into the book. So it's one player apiece. Kurt Zuma got a yellow card in that first half. Norgard just for a bit of a shirt pull there on Fornals as he was making his way forward. And now another opportunity for Brentford, for West Ham I should say, to try and come forward and force what would be an equalising goal. Benrahma, Cresswell and Rice stood over this latest free kick attempt. It's too far away for, or maybe not quite too far away for an effort on goal, but I'd be surprised if this one was struck directly towards goal. 69 minutes on the clock. Cresswell lifts the ball in. It's headed away by Toney. Comes back out now to Declan Rice, who can't quite keep it in play as he stretches his legs over on that far side. Brentford defending for all their lives worth at the moment, as there's been an equalising goal at Palace.
There has indeed, Dan, yes. It's Jeff Schlupp who has made it 2-2 at Selhurst Park. So but Brendan Rodgers' side leading 2-0, getting through to half-time. But now a real response here from Palace in the second half, with goals from Elise and Schlupp. And he'll be delighted, Patrick Vieira, because both of the goals scored by substitutes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a real vindication of what Vieira has done with his bench. It's still just 1-0 in our featured game. West Ham 0, Brentford 1. As a high ball is played up, Fabianski gets there just in the nick of time ahead of Ivan Toney. Rice plays it across to the far side now for Jarrod Bowen. I should say Sofal, who's then brought down by Rico Henry. That is going to be a free kick for West Ham. 20 minutes to go now, and are you a little bit surprised maybe that Thomas Frank has decided not to tighten things up off the bench?
I think I would have thought that looking at that Brentford bench, there are a couple of defensive players, Mads Bidstrup, Matthias Rasmussen, two sort of who can play in that defensive midfield or in that defensive right role. Potentially Canos could be taken off to bring on a sort of more right-back position player in that role for the last 20 minutes. I think that the worry from Thomas Frank is that his side are already sort of set up quite defensively, and if he brings on a defensive player, that could get them sitting back even more. Whereas he probably still wants them to try and get forward. And it has to be said, the last 3 or 4 minutes, West Ham have just struggled to create an attack.
Yeah, and a second goal for Brentford, if they can go forward and get one, probably would end this game. And it'd almost be a sense of, if Brentford do get a second, it's not going to be West Ham's day, because they've had the bulk of the opportunities at the end of the first half and throughout this second half as well. It might just be a case of being a bad day at the office for David Moyes' men, but there is still time for them, as Jorgensen has the ball in his hands, ready to take the throw-in. Aiming towards Buemo, nice touch, and then Toney through to Matthias Jensen, and he's dragged it wide. I think that may have taken a slight deflection off Kurt Zouma. It's probably a case of the wrong man in the right place.
Yeah, it's unfortunate here because Jensen has got a decent shot on him, and that deflection from Zouma didn't stop the ball from going in. It was going wide anyway, so it's Brentford will take the consolation prize of the corner anyway. Even if Zouma hadn't have deflected that, I think Fabianski makes an easy save. There wasn't too much pace on the strike, but at least Jensen can now try and repair that mistake with the corner kick he's going to take himself.
Yeah, one thing you've got to see as well, another fabulous through ball from Ivan Toney, and Jensen timed the run really brilliantly as well. It's going to be Jensen to take the corner himself, aim towards Janssen at the back post. Fabianski comes and gathers, and he's been prevented from clearing the ball as quickly as possible. He does eventually clear it. It's Onyeka who can head it forward, and Brentford just reorganised themselves, played back to David Raya, cleared by him towards Canos. It's a bad touch from Sergi Canos, who is a winger turned wing-back in this formation. Of course, Brentford let go of Henrik Dalsgaard during the summer. He's gone back to his native Denmark.
He's gone to the other club owned by Brentford, owner Matt Benham.
Yeah.
He's at FC Midtjylland this season. Quite a few eyebrows raised, actually. I thought quite a few fans, I think, expected that perhaps Dalsgaard would have stayed on just because he was such a big part of that championship promotion team. But perhaps the club just felt as though, with his age, and perhaps they felt as though he wouldn't have the pace to hack it in the Premier League. Similar situation with Emiliano Marcondes, who was such a big part of that playoff run towards the end of the season. But he was let go, and he's now playing at Bournemouth.
Yeah, there can be some ruthlessness by clubs that get promoted, and often...
Has to be, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, often I think fans look at it and think more in terms of sentimentality, but for these guys, it's their jobs. They know they've got to get it right, they've got to get results, or they'll lose the jobs. So they have to make
cuts both ways, doesn't it? When you've got a big player who's coming towards the end of his contract, he can perhaps hold the club to ransom, and clubs have to be able to bite back themselves occasionally in terms of managing their squads. But just over 15 minutes to go here, and that spark that West Ham had at the start of this second half just seems to have gone out a little bit now.
Yeah, it has ever so slightly, but they're looking to come forward now with Sofal over the halfway line, forward to Jarrod Bowen, whose real influence on this game has begun to wane somewhat. Rice now across to Cresswell. He might fancy the strike from distance. He goes for the cross instead, and he's made a real mess of that, Aaron Cresswell. He was caught in two minds whether to go for the shot, whether to float the cross in, and in the end he he floated the cross in with almost the power of a shot.
Yeah, it wasn't good in the end, as you said, and Raya had to make sure that he actually didn't get a hand on that. That was a bit of a strong challenge there as well, from a bit of an elbow there from Fornals as Norgard was hitting the deck. There has just been a little undercurrent of physicality in this game that seems to have been ramped up a little bit in this second half as well.
Yeah, there has, and as we enter the final 15 minutes, that could potentially boil over into something. It's not been a dirty game. We've only had 2 bookings to show for it from the referee, Peter Banks, but you never know what could happen in these closing stages. So foul coming forward. Here is Antonio on the far side, looking to get away from Pinnock, and he does that, but Pinnock just about keeps him at bay. Back now towards Bowen, who crosses. Shouts for a penalty. Half-hearted shouts they are from West Ham. It's Souček who went down under the challenge from Pontus Jansson. We'll probably have to see a replay of that. The decision is a goal kick anyway, as the cross came in. Yeah,
I think that Souček, to me, seems to be turning and losing his balance. I don't think, looking at 2 replays now, I haven't seen anything that Pontus Jansson did to cause the man to fall over there. But certainly, Frank, they're talking to Yoan Wissa. It looks as though Brentford are potentially thinking about making a change. But Yoan Wissa is a forward. So unless they're just trying to perhaps give Mbuemo or Tony a bit of a break in the last 15 minutes, I would have thought that Brentford will be thinking about making a defensive change. But it's that point we made earlier that perhaps Thomas Frank is fearing that if he makes too many defensive changes, his players are going to sit back even more. It may well be that he's thinking about taking off Canos, who's just sat down as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it kind of so often in various games down the years where teams have always decided to sit back, and you just look at them and you think you're inevitably going to concede a goal because you're just offering the opposition the chance to pile forward, and you know, when shots can be got away from the edge of the area, you never know where they could pinball. You've kind of almost got to get forward themselves. Brentford are coming forward once again. Here is Mbuemo, right side of the box, lifts one in towards Tony. It's headed clear by Zuma, and then Rice can knock it away himself, only as far as Pinnock. Here comes Rico Henry now. He's being chased by Jarrod Bowen. That's a really good challenge by Bowen, but Henry is able to get up to his feet and win the ball back. His cross is deflected off so far and it goes out of play. I think it may have gone for a corner kick, so really good work there from Rico Henry, and they're getting closer and closer to it.
They are. He's an excellent player, Rico Henry. Missed nearly half of last season with an injury and still got voted as one of the players of the Championship 11 last season. So it just shows what an important player for Brentford he was last season, and how important he's been since the start of this. But it's a corner kick now to Brentford down the left-hand side.
Yeah, chance now for Brentford to get a second goal, perhaps floated in, but that's good goalkeeping from Fabianski. Just a little bit of an awkward moment as Kurt Zuma was there right in front of him, but Fabianski bowls the ball now towards Aaron Cresswell. Cresswell lifts it forward, looking for Antonio, but Jansson positions himself well. Here is Saïd Benrahma, back now towards Aaron Cresswell. Plenty of claret and blue shirts in front of him, but Cresswell has just slowed the pace of the game down somewhat, rolls it back towards Ogbonna, and now here is Zuma, and Brentford won't mind West Ham doing this, just passing it around midfield and defence. It's played forward now, a little bit more incisive. Whipped in by Sofal. It's Jensen that gets there first, ahead of Fornals. The 2 number 8s doing battle. Jensen had to play it out for a throw in there, but that'll do at the moment for Brentford with just under 12 minutes of the game remaining. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It's West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Here is Benrahma now. Benrahma plays it down the line looking for Cresswell. It's then cleared away into touch. Brentford get the ball back. Here is Jensen. Onyeka loses out. It's with Benrahma over towards Vladimir Sofal. He's been offered plenty of space. He gets the cross in, tries to whip one towards Antonio. Again, it's Jansson who comes out on top, and he's come out on top of that battle for most of the afternoon. Rice makes his way into the box. Here is Cresswell near side. Cresswell's cross charged down by Jensen, behind for a corner.
Yeah, the pendulum just swinging back into West Ham's favour now in terms of the attacking possession. They're just starting to spend a bit more time around that Brentford box. And it's going to be an outswinging corner from Cresswell. He's got to be careful. His last outswinging corner swung out, and it was given as a goal kick straight away.
Yep, got to deliver much better than that with 11 minutes remaining. Cresswell will be aiming for, I think Souček probably is the primary target in the box as Cresswell delivers one in. It's flicked on by Rice. It's drilled towards goal, and they have found the equaliser, and it's Jarrod Bowen that stuck it in right-footed. A powerful effort. You can't say that it wasn't coming. Some decent fortune about how the ball dropped towards Bowen, but on his weaker foot as well. That's a fantastic finish.
It is a great finish from Bowen, and the goal has been coming. Maybe not in the last 10 minutes or so, but certainly since the start of this second half. West Ham a value for this equaliser, you would say. Brentford just guilty of sitting back for too long a spell, and you can see here as this ball is swung in, the header is actually from Ethan Pinnock, and it's a very tight angle there for Bowen to try and find that ball, to try and find that shot into the back of the net, but he does really well there, just inside the post. Really gets the laces through it with his weaker right foot, and West Ham level with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think from Jarrod Bowen's point of view, I think he'd be happy to admit it was almost a case of just hit and hope. With the way where he was stood in the box, with it being his right foot, with there being so many men in front of him, he did thread the eye of a needle with that effort. It's a great finish, and West Ham back on level terms, and now from Brentford's point of view, you'd almost think, hold on for a point now.
Yeah, well, they were holding on for a win, and that's not happened. Brentford are now making a double change, and it's a defensive and attacking change here. It looks like it's going to be a Mads Bidstrup coming on alongside a Yoan Wissa. Frank Onyeka is the first Brentford player to go off. It looks like Mads Bidstrup is coming on to replace him. And Brian Mbeumo is going off to be replaced by Yoan Wissa. So Brentford still trying to strengthen that defensive midfield, but also freshen up the attack as well.
Yep, so changes at both ends of the field for Brentford as the goal scorer is withdrawn along with Frank Onyeka. Yoan Wissa is on the summer signing for Brentford, one of a few players that were brought to the club. They didn't make mass changes from the squad that took them up from the Championship, because why would you want to? Why would you want to break apart a group of players who've served the club so well? It's gone up forward now towards Ivan Toney, who's been brought down by Kurt Zuma, and this would be a bit of a twist in the tail if Brentford were to get the third goal and edge back in front in this contest. They've got a free kick now that they can try and stand into the box as David Moyes looks on. He'll be feeling much happier about himself now that West Ham are back on level terms. It probably won't be seen as a great result from their point of view if it's only a draw, but considering that they were behind for so long in the game, as David Moyes just gesturing from the sideline, and a chance now for Brentford to try and get their noses back in front. It's going to be taken around about 30 yards out on the far side. Too far away for the shot. It's going to be drilled across now towards Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock at the back post, but Pinnock just heads it down. He gets the header wrong, and it's gathered by Fabianski.
Not the right choice there from Pinnock. He could have just let that go, and it would have been a corner. And with Brentford trying to kill a few seconds, that would have suited them more, I think, than heading the ball straight into Fabianski, who then bowls it out, and West Ham can straight away go on the attack themselves.
Cresswell now gets it back from Fornals, and here is Angelo Ogbonna. Back for Fornals, who's then brought down. It's going to be a free kick. Canos just sticking a leg out. Two Spaniards going at it. Canos is going to be shown a yellow card for that. There has been a little bit of needle between those two in this contest, Sergi Canos and Fornals, and it is Canos who's been yellow carded for that. Here is Cresswell as the free kick's taken short and taken quickly. Now Ogbonna across to Kurt Zuma. So foul now. So foul lifts it forward, looking for Souček, making that forward run that he likes to make so often. Pinnock can clear. It's going to drop now for Yoan Wissa. Wissa rolls it back towards Jansson, and here is Ethan Pinnock. Forward by Pinnock into Bidstrup. First touch for him, but it's then played forward. Here is Wissa coming forward. He may have been in an offside position, but Zuma gets there just ahead of him. I think Wissa was just caught on his heels ever so slightly. Long ball played forward. It's going to reach Michail Antonio. Shows too much of it to Pontus Jansson, who just prods it out for a throw-in. But West Ham, it appears as though it might just be one-way traffic from now until full time.
It might be. It was almost like a situation where one team are playing with 10 men and they're just sitting back defending, and Brentford giving away a silly free kick there. Zanka Jorgensen, he's showing the referee that he felt Mikael Antonio dived, but I'm not so sure. I think there was just too much contact there from the Dane. And although referees are supposed to let stuff go, I mean, he's pulling back on the shirt. There isn't much contact. Antonio's a very strong lad. He wouldn't normally fall over if you pushed him that gently in the street, of course. But in this situation, he knows that winning his side a free kick in that position is going to be very beneficial.
And he's picked up a yellow card as well, Matthias Zanka Jorgensen. So they are beginning to mount up a little bit the bookings from the referee as Ben Rama is just by the byline on this near side, ready to take this free kick with 5 minutes left of the 90, plus however much time is added on at the end. There have not been as many stoppages in this second half compared to what we saw in the first. It's taken short by Ben Rama, linking up with Cresswell. It comes straight off at Jensen, and they'll get a corner kick. A bit of a strange choice of free kick there.
It was a little bit, yeah, but I suppose that suits Brentford that the ball is then put out for a corner, and that's going to take a few seconds to set up, but it's the danger's not averted. It's just another set piece, and if anything now, West Ham can't be as clever with the short free kick. They've just got to whip the ball in, so this could pose more problems for Brentford now. Yeah,
another big opportunity for West Ham. Swung in by Cresswell, headed away at the near post by Tony, who's not got himself on the score sheet, but he has had a good game, Ivan Tony. Here is Ben Rama, forward now to Rice. Rice plays the cross in, and there were two West Ham players in the box. It was Antonio and Souček. It was millimetres away from both of them. That might be West Ham's best chance to get the noses back in front.
Well, to be fair, I probably only needed a nose from one of those two players and the ball would have got in. It was a delicious ball here from Declan Rice. Just needs a touch. Both Antonio actually motioned his head towards it to try and head it towards goal. It just got past him. Souček's just behind. He realised that his teammate wasn't getting it, tried to stick a right foot out, but it was just too late and the ball was past him.
Yeah, it's a really good cross, that from Declan Rice. So accurate. It's just one of those that's horrible to defend against, because if you get a touch, you never know, you could divert it into your own net. It's very difficult for Brentford, but West Ham were very charitable to Brentford in order of not getting a touch on the ball, and now it's gone down the other end, and Brentford have got a throw-in on this near side with 3 minutes of the match remaining, plus however much time is added on. Cresswell, the man making the clearance in the end, as we just wait for Brentford to take this. And the way that Jorgensen has wiped the ball with his shirt suggests this might be being arrowed into the box. And he's got a long run-up area as well at the London Stadium, so he can get distance on this if he wants to. Loops in from Jorgensen. It comes back out to Jensen. Jensen stands one up into the box. Don't think Matthias Jorgensen has quite got the Rory Delap throw-in masterminded.
No, not quite. No. It's Rory Delap really was a pioneer when it came to that. Ethan Pinnock's got a much better throw than that as well, but for whatever reason, Brentford just try not to use that. We can see the goal that West Ham scored. I mean, Mikael Antonio was stood offside the whole time. However, is he in the way of David Raya? Well, he's sort of in his eye line, but I suppose the argument is that the ball, that Antonio in no way interfered with play, and there was still enough space for that ball to get past him. So I suppose, do you think last season's VAR, would that have been disallowed, or do you think that he's still not interfering with play, really?
Well, having looked at the replay for the first time there, I'm surprised that wasn't ruled out, because I know he's not directly in the eyesight, but if David Raya was to dive over to his left, Antonio then would be in his eyesight. So it's one of those grey areas where I think the rule probably needs a bit of clarification.
It does, and that's part of the beauty of football, I suppose, that there are so many grey areas. There are so many situations on a football pitch which aren't black and white. You could ask 10 referees, 10 pundits and 10 fans what they think of a certain situation. You'll all get a slightly different view. So on that occasion, the goal does stand, and we've got around 90 seconds of regulation play still to go.
Henry plays it forward. Zuma can intercept. It's now come to Antonio, but that's a poor ball from him. He's not at his best game, Mikael Antonio, not being quite as effective up front. I think some of his touches have been pretty poor today, as Jensen now sweeps it across for Henry. He's got space. Antonio is coming back to try and put him under pressure as we enter the final minute of the 90. West Ham 1, Brentford 1. Brian Mbeumo put Brentford in front, but Jarrod Bowen, who got the equaliser to cancel out Brentford's lead. It's gone out of play down the far side now, so it will be a throw-in for West Ham as Thomas Frank looks on. He'll be... he will have accepted, I think, a point before kick-off today, but the way that the equaliser came, the fact that Brentford were so good in the opening part of the contest, there might be that tinge of disappointment, and I think that's almost a testament to how well Brentford have started the season, the fact that they can be disappointed potentially with a 1-1 draw away at West Ham.
Yeah, they're disappointed at drawing against a team who've only lost once this season, and that was in sort of very close circumstances to Manchester United. So it just shows that it is a very strong Brentford side that's started this season, but there are still some frailties. We've seen that in this game, that Brentford haven't been able to step up to the mark at times in terms of all this possession. But here come West Ham now down the left-hand side with Ben Rama.
Ben Rama's cross, it's very, very deep. Is it going to be kept in? It is brilliantly by Sofal, but it might be the start of a Brentford counter-attack as Declan Rice there with a challenge on Wissa. I think Rice is pretending to be injured, almost to save a bit of face, because he's definitely going in the book for that. That was clearly stopping a counter-attack in its tracks. He's getting his legs stretched now by both Jarrod Bowen and by David Raya, to his credit, who's come across. And, he's getting...
That's interesting for Raya. I mean, Raya's really sort of taken over there, hasn't he? Even though it's not his own player, but it's a cynical challenge that's from Declan Rice. But one of those that he'll take that for the team, because far better to foul Yoan Wissa deep inside the Brentford half than letting him get into the West Ham half. Now, Rice is still being checked over here. And this is, of course, time ticking down here for West Ham. We've only got 3 minutes of injury time in the second half. Yeah,
I think once he hangs up his gloves, I think David Raya will be going into physioing rather than coaching. Looking at that, he was across like a physio, almost the speed that they can come onto the field. We've got 3 minutes of additional time, by the way, of which we've already played a minute and a half of that. So it seems unlikely now that we're going to get a third and decisive goal. And there is a bit of a worry for Rice, the fact that he's not got back up yet. It looks a bit more severe than cramp if he's still down on the deck. I wonder if he may have just overstretched himself in trying to challenge for that. He's doing the exercises now as he looks to get back up to his feet, and then picks up a yellow card, adding insult to injury there, quite literally, from the referee, as Rice jogs over to the touchline, tries to take in a swig of water. He's such a hard-working player in midfield, that he is the sort that you would think is prone to cramp.
Well, he probably feels as though he has a point to prove after all the talk during the summer that potentially he could be on the move. It was hard to know exactly where the truth was in all those. It always is with transfer rumours, of course. But I think that the fact that he has been at West Ham for a while, and is certainly this as the start of this season, he's looked very solid.
Yeah, I think he ticks a lot of boxes for bigger clubs, in that he's both young and English, as Bidstrup tries to link up there with Wissa. It's going to be a free kick now for Brentford, so this could be one of the last chances of the game. It's, again, not a free kick that's going to be within shooting range. Ogbonna with a bit of a clumsy challenge there on Wissa, but a real opportunity for Brentford just to test the waters for West Ham, float one into the box. Bidstrup and Wissa, the two substitutes, were looking to combine, and Ogbonna made sure he put a stop to that. So last chance territory perhaps for Brentford to get a third goal and go 2-1 up and continue what has been a very solid start to the Premier League season. They've absolutely not looked out of place during this campaign so far. Brentford, it's going to be Jensen standing over the ball. He was just trying to catch out the two-man wall initially there. Jensen floats one in towards the back post. It's headed away, and then Wissa shoots, and Brentford have surely won this game right in added time. It came out to Yoan Wissa after Jansen's header was initially saved, and he thumps it into the back of the net, and Brentford have surely picked up the 3 points.
Well, look at that. Seconds after the 3 minutes of injury time have expired, Brentford look like they have won it when West Ham really on top in this second half. But just towards the end of the game, the Bees get that free kick. The initial header is blocked, and Yoan Wissa, for the second week in a row, comes off the bench and scores for Brentford.
Yeah, what a signing he's proving to be. He's rescued 4 points just by himself, Yoan Wissa. Well, the free kick came in. It's palmed away by Fabianski, but it comes out to Yoan Wissa, and I think almost in a similar way to Jarrod Bowen. He puts his laces through it, hoping for the best. It comes through a crowd of bodies. We'll get a better look of it from the reverse angle. Good save by Fabianski. It was fairly straight at him, but it comes to Wissa through a crowd of bodies.
Gets that bounce, doesn't he, as he hits his laces through it, and that's travelling Brentford, and absolutely delighted with that one. And David Moyes will be so frustrated as the referee Peter Banks calls time.
Yeah, it's finished. West Ham 1, Brentford 2. Brian Mbuemo's goal was cancelled out by Jarrod Bowen, but Yoan Wissa, 4 minutes into added time, grabbed the winner. West Ham 1, Brentford 2. Thanks for joining.